The electric car, it feels like the future, a symbol of clean tech and modern mobility. But what if I told you this future is actually over a century old? That the roads were once quietly dominated by vehicles, powered not by gasoline, but by electricity. It sounds impossible. A forgotten fragment of history. We picture early cars, belching smoke, all pistons and noise, yet the truth is far more surprising. Before Ford's Model T conquered the world, electric vehicles were the preferred choice of urban elites, outselling their gasoline counterparts in major cities. They were quiet, clean, and easy to operate. So what happened? How did this promising technology vanish for decades, only to roar back with such force today? The hidden history of the electric car is a tale of early triumph, shocking betrayal, and an 80-year slumber. It involves forgotten inventors, fierce corporate battles, and a conspiracy that nearly erased an entire industry from memory. This isn't just about batteries and motors. It's a detective story, uncovering the buried origins of a revolution we thought was new. Prepare to have everything you thought you knew about the automobile turned upside down. The journey begins, not in Silicon Valley, but in the workshops and muddy streets of the 19th century. Picture the world in the early 1800s. Cities are growing rapidly, choked by the manure of countless horses pulling carriages and carts. The air is thick with the smell, and disease is rampant. Steam locomotives conquer continents, but they are massive, dirty, and utterly impractical for personal transport within crowded cities. The dream, a horseless carriage, something personal, manageable, and cleaner. Inventors across Europe and America are obsessed. Steam offers power but requires bulky boilers, long startup times, and constant water refilling. The internal combustion engine. It exists in crude forms, but it's noisy, unreliable, temperamental to start, spews noxious fumes and smoke, and requires messy, smelly gasoline, a byproduct of kerosene refining, initially seen as useless and even hazardous for the refined urbanite, especially women who found gasoline cars difficult and dirty to operate. These options are deeply unappealing. The noise and vibration are jarring. The need is clear. A clean, quiet, reliable, and easy-to-use personal vehicle for city life. Something that doesn't require the strength of a blacksmith or the patience of a saint to operate. The stage is set for innovation, and the first viable solutions won't involve explosions under the hood, but the mysterious force of electricity, a scientific marvel captivating the world. Pioneers like Michael Faraday had demonstrated electromagnetic rotation as early as 1821. Could this invisible power propel a carriage? The race is on to harness this clean energy source for motion. It wasn't about saving the planet then. It was about solving the immediate, visceral problems of urban stench, noise, and the sheer impracticality of horses and early gasoline engines for daily, personal use. The city demanded a better way, and electricity whispered a promising answer. The story doesn't begin with a single eureka, but with a series of crucial sparks across decades and continents. As early as the 1830s, visionaries were experimenting. Scottish inventor Robert Anderson is credited with building a crude, non-rechargeable electric carriage around 1832. Powered by primitive primary cells, it was more a proof of concept than practical transport. American blacksmith Thomas Davenport, inspired by witnessing early electromagnets, built a small battery-powered Model Electric railway car in 1834 and patented an electric motor design in 1837. arguably the first practical American DC motor. His dream was electric trains and vehicles, but battery technology lagged far behind. The real leap towards practicality came with the invention of the rechargeable lead-acid battery by French physicist Gaston Plante in 1859. Suddenly, electric power wasn't a one-shot deal. This breakthrough paved the way for more viable prototypes. In 1881, French inventor Gustave Trouvé demonstrated a tricycle powered by a Siemens electric motor and his own improved battery, navigating the streets of Paris. Across the Channel in 1884, English inventor Thomas Parker, a man deeply concerned about London's horrific coal smoke pollution, built a prototype electric car using high-capacity rechargeable batteries he himself had developed. He's often overlooked, but Parker was likely operating a practical production electric vehicle around this time. However, the moment that truly captured public imagination happened in Iowa, USA, in 1890. William Morrison, a chemist, unveiled his electric surrey, a 6-passenger wagon powered by storage batteries. It wasn't fast, but it was reliable, quiet, and could travel a respectable 50 miles on a charge. Morrison demonstrated it in a Des Moines parade in 1890, astounding onlookers. This wasn't just a lab curiosity, it was a drivable vehicle. Morrison's surrey proved electric propulsion was viable for personal transport. This demonstration ignited a firestorm of interest. Inventors and entrepreneurs saw the potential. Here was a machine that started instantly, ran silently, emitted no fumes, and required no strenuous cranking or gear changes. The race to build the future of the automobile was officially on, and electricity had a commanding lead. But the real battle for dominance was just beginning. Fueled by Morrison's success and the limitations of early gasoline cars, the 1890s witnessed an explosion in electric vehicle development and commercialization. This wasn't a niche market. It became the cutting-edge technology for urban elites. Companies like Pope Manufacturing, Riker Electric, and the electric vehicle companies sprang up, producing elegant carriages that resembled horse-drawn buggies minus the horse. Key improvements rapidly followed. Better lead-acid batteries, increased range, more efficient electric motors were developed. Elaborate battery swapping systems were even trialed in cities like New York for taxis, foreshadowing modern ideas. Electric cars offered distinct advantages. No hand cranking, no complex gearboxes, no exhaust fumes, and near-silent operation. They were marketed specifically towards women and doctors, demographics who valued ease of use, cleanliness, and reliability for city errands and house calls. By 1900, electric vehicles accounted for roughly 1/3 of all cars on American roads, outselling gasoline cars in major cities like New York, Boston, and Chicago. They held significant land speed records. In 1899, Belgian Camille Genetzi's bullet-shaped La Jammer Content became the first road vehicle to officially break 100 kilometers per hour, powered by electricity. Companies like Baker Motor Vehicle and Detroit Electric produced luxurious models with lavish interiors, targeting the wealthy. Clara Ford, Henry Ford's wife, famously drove a Detroit Electric, not a Ford Model T. The technology seemed poised for dominance. However, challenges lurked beneath the polished exteriors. Range anxiety was real, typically limited to 40 to 80 miles, restricting them primarily to city use. Charging infrastructure was primitive. Owners often relied on charging stations in city centers or expensive home installations. Battery weight was immense, impacting performance and efficiency. Crucially, while gasoline cars were initially seen as smelly, noisy toys for tinkerers, rapid advancements were being made. But the real threat wasn't just technological improvement. What happened next would change the course of automotive history dramatically and, some would argue, deliberately. The electric car's early lead was spectacular, but its downfall was equally dramatic. The catalyst was Henry Ford, and his revolutionary 1908 Model T Ford didn't invent the gasoline car, but he perfected mass production, making it incredibly affordable. The Model T's price plummeted from $850 in 1909 to under $300 by the 1920s. Put in car ownership within reach of the middle class. Simultaneously, two other critical shifts occurred. First, vast oil reserves were discovered in Texas and elsewhere, making gasoline cheap and readily available. Second, Charles Kettering's invention of the electric starter motor in 1912 eliminated the dreaded, dangerous hand crank, removing gasoline cars' most significant usability barrier. The combination was devastating for electric vehicles. Suddenly, gasoline cars offered greater range, faster refueling, and much lower purchase prices. Electric cars, confined to cities and still expensive, became seen as outdated luxuries for the wealthy few. By 1920, their market share had collapsed to near insignificance. The societal impact was profound. Gasoline cars enabled suburban sprawl, the decline of urban rail systems, and the rise of the iconic American road trip. They reshaped cities, industries, and daily life. However, this came with significant unintended consequences. Air pollution, noise pollution, geopolitical struggles over oil, and a massive increase in carbon emissions. The electric car didn't vanish entirely. It found niches. Milk floats in the UK, forklifts in factories, and golf carts, applications where its quiet operation and lack of fumes were paramount, and range limitations were manageable. But for mainstream personal transport, it was effectively dead for decades. The cultural memory of electric vehicles faded. Generations grew up associating cars solely with the roar of an engine and the smell of gasoline. The promise of clean, quiet, electric propulsion seemed like a quaint historical footnote, a technological dead end. The world had embraced the internal combustion engine, locking itself into a petroleum-based transportation system with consequences we are still grappling with today. The electric cars neared total erasure from popular consciousness for over half a century is one of the most significant what-ifs in technological history. But the story wasn't over. A spark remained. The electric car's resurrection is a story of necessity, meeting renewed ingenuity. The oil crises of the 1970s jolted the world, exposing the vulnerability of oil dependence and sparking fleeting interest in alternatives like GM's experimental EV1 in the 1990s, a car famously leased and then controversially crushed, becoming a symbol of resistance. But the true turning point came with growing, undeniable evidence of climate change and the technological convergence of the 21st century. Advances in battery chemistry, particularly lithium-ion technology pioneered for electronics, finally offered the energy density needed for practical range. Power electronics became vastly more efficient. Computing enabled sophisticated battery management systems. Enter visionaries like Martin Eberhard, Mark Tarpenning, and later Elon Musk at Tesla. Tesla's 2008 Roadster was the pivotal moment, proving an electric car could be desirable, high performance, and offer usable range. It shattered the golf cart stereotype. This sparked a global revolution. Legacy automakers, facing stringent emissions regulations and shifting consumer demand, are now pouring billions into electrification. Charging networks are expanding rapidly. Today, electric vehicles are no longer a niche curiosity. They are central to the automotive industry's future, representing a multi-trillion-dollar shift. The hidden history teaches us profound lessons. First, innovation is rarely linear. Technologies can dominate, disappear, and re-emerge stronger. Second, success isn't solely about technical superiority. Cost, infrastructure, and powerful economic and political forces play decisive roles. Third, human ingenuity is persistent. The core challenges faced by Morrison and Parker, energy storage and efficient power delivery, are the same ones engineers conquered to make the modern EV possible, just with vastly more advanced tools. The electric car's origin story is a testament to perseverance. It reminds us that progress can be delayed, even suppressed, but not permanently extinguished when the underlying need for cleaner, more sustainable transportation becomes undeniable. Looking at your modern EV, you're not just seeing the future, you're witnessing the revival of a dream first sparked in workshops over 180 years ago. The electric car wasn't born yesterday. It simply took the long way home, and its journey, filled with twists and turns, holds vital clues for the next wave of innovation still hidden in plain sight. This story teaches us that even the brightest ideas can be buried by time, competition, or convenience. But true ingenuity never truly dies. Like the electric car's 80-year slumber, your own breakthroughs might face seasons of silence before their moment arrives. So, the next time you face a setback or hear "that'll never work," remember, dig up that abandoned project, retry that rejected idea, or challenge the status quo. Your forgotten spark could be waiting for its era to shine. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What overlooked invention deserves a modern revival? And if you could time travel to 1900, would you drive an electric car or a Model T? And why? Share your answers below. Smash that like button if this hidden history shocked you. And subscribe because we uncover mind-blowing origin stories every week. You won't want to miss what forgotten marvel we reveal next.